Shane, you recently made your 200th appearance for Southampton, a big double century, and we've collated quite a few of the best memories from your time here at the club in this book. So, do you want to dive in and we'll go through it and see where we get to?
I've probably forgotten half of them now.
So obviously the summer of 2014, it was it was an interesting summer for the club because there was so much change. A lot of players had gone. Mauricio Pochettino had left, Ronald Koeman had come in, and I think you kind of came in sort of mid-August towards the end of the transfer window. What was your sort of impression of the club that you were coming into at that point?
Obviously I played them the season before and I knew they were a good team, but I signed for Hull I think 7 months before that, and all of a sudden the move to Southampton opportunity came along, and at the time it was kind of a risky one because, as I said, it was a whole new team, a whole new structure. I don't think we had that many actual first team players. I think there was like 13 or 14, so it was a big risk. But obviously I came down to meet the manager, seen the club. I knew Bertie was here as well, so I got a bit of inside scoop from him, and yeah, I was delighted to sign. You know, it was another step in my development, and it was one I'm very happy I took.
If we flick on, we'll get a couple of those sort of opening games. So
I think it was Stoke away in the League Cup. Yeah, it was nice to get that first goal for the club. Obviously, it's a bit of pressure when you're coming in. The club haven't spent so much money and putting that much risk in you that you can always hit the ground running. And I don't think it was too long later I got my first two Premier League goals against Leicester. I remember we were struggling to score, and I came on with about 20 minutes to go, and the ball got played into Grazzi, and he set me on my left foot and curled it into the corner around Schmeichel. And yeah, it was a good win. It was a good 3 points for us that game, and to get both goals to give us the win was an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it really kind of kept the momentum going that had been built up early on in the season, didn't it?
Yeah, it was one of them games where we just couldn't get the breakthrough, and it would have taken fresh legs to come off the bench to make the impact, or a bit of luck. But nicely it fell for me in a nice position, and I managed to slot it home.
It was a really memorable season, that one in general, and obviously ended in a fantastic way, particularly that 6-1 win over Aston Villa, which you were heavily involved in as well.
Yeah, I remember the day. It was a really nice day, and I think Villa were struggling a bit. We were flying, obviously coming off the win against Leicester, and the first half we just got into them. I think it must have been 5-0 at half time or something, but I think I got cleaned out for 2 of Sadio's goals. Sadio got the quickest hat-trick that day, and I managed to set him up for 2 of them. But it was one of them days where everything came off. We played perfect football at times, and 1-2s around them, and Villa just couldn't cope, and I managed to get that goal from distance as well. I remember we'd done the meetings that Shea Gibbon was in goal, and they were trying to play a high defence, and Shea was trying to be the sweeper, so just be aware that he'll be off his line kind of thing. And, you plan for these things, but they never come along in a game, but when it does and it comes off the way it does, I couldn't have connected any better with that, and it flew into the goal, and that was to make it 4-0 at the time, I think. So yeah, it's a good day. Bad knee slide though. It was too dry that day. I was stuck in the ground. But
obviously, off the back of that season, that put you into the Europa League and into the qualifying rounds. And I guess it was, a series of highs and lows with Vitesse, and then Midtjylland. Obviously, some of the photos from Vitesse at home, which you scored against. What was that whole experience like here at Southampton for that kind of first season getting in there?
Yeah, it was amazing. The buzz around the place. Obviously we played some good football and finished high up the table for a reason. We were a good team, and we wanted to test ourselves in Europe. And as it didn't really go to how we planned. Midtjylland away was a tough fixture, that stands out. But I'm just looking at this goal, and I remember I was in 1-on-1 with the keeper and kicked the ground, and then Wembley came in and set me up, and I tapped it in from a yard out. But yeah, there was big nights. I think the fans deserved them nights as well. It shows how far the club had come from being in League One, and it was exciting times. And although that season didn't go to plan in Europe, it was still showing the steps we were making as a club.
Memorable night against Arsenal as well.
Yeah. I think this was around Christmas time. I think we won 4-0. Was that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I had a back heel that I scored from about here. That was written off because I said I fouled the centre back, Martin Zacher, but I should have had a hat-trick that night. But Yeah, another game. You know, I think we were struggling for a bit for points at that stage of the season as well. We didn't have the start that we thought we were going to have, and we came into this game and totally outplayed Arsenal. You know, won 4-0, and they kind of got. I think there's pressure on me in this game as well because I'm sure Grazzi was injured, and I was thrown in up front, and you know it was time to step up and try and fill his boots. You know, so yeah, it was a tough boots to fill, but yeah, I managed to get the 2 goals, and I think I went on a bit of a run then of scoring. Davo, miss him. Yeah, he's one of them players that, you know, you play against him, you think, yeah, he's tidy, he's a good player, or whatever. But when you train with him and see him every day, you just realise how good he is. You know, his quality, his knowledge of the game, his positioning, you know, I've plenty of times been the away team, so the first 11 will do shape, and I'm Troy Deeney, or I'm the other striker, and I'm trying to drop in and pick up the midfielders, and I couldn't get close to Dave. He was just always out of my grasp, and if I did get close, he's just 1-2 it around me, and that's when you really appreciate how good the player is. So yeah, our loss is Rangers' gain, and he's flying up there.
You guys built up a great friendship as well here, didn't you?
Yeah, I got very close to Davo. Our wives are close. We've got kids similar age, and you know we just click. We could sit in a room for an hour and not speak a word, but still feel comfortable. But yeah, he's a great guy, and one that I've kept in touch with and will keep in touch with when the football days are over.
You mentioned your family, and there's pictures of them in here, of your kids and everything. How much has this been a successful move, not just for you as an individual, but you as a family, because you all seem really, really settled down here?
Yeah, definitely. My middle one there, who was the youngest at the time, I think we moved when she was about 5 or 6 months, so it was a big change. So all she knows is Southampton. You know, I've had another one since. It looks weird not having 3, but yeah, we've really settled down here. You know, it's a nice place to grow up. It's a nice place for the kids in the New Forest, and so much things to do for them, and schools are good, and my wife's family is not far away either, and you know we've really taken to life down here, and yeah, really settled down, and I know the kids really love it as well.
Now, going into this season, this is obviously a really memorable one for many different reasons. That Europa League group stage campaign, which had some great memories in it, obviously ended ultimately in disappointment, and I guess for you as well, particularly on an individual level, picking up that injury in the San Siro too.
Yeah, that was tough to take, because that was an amazing stadium, and I think I tweaked it a week or 2 beforehand, and managed to get back fit for the game, and probably wasn't 100% fit, but I didn't tell the medical staff. I was just desperate to play in that game, and we put in a brilliant performance. I was unlucky to get injured really, because I'd sprinted a lot of times and there was no issues. I just got myself into an awkward position where I overstretched, and my heel got stuck in the ground and popped it again, and it was it was a sickness to take, but we still got a good result out there from what I can remember, and still a big night to be part of, you know?
Yeah. I
love that kit as well.
And then later on in the season, there was another tremendous memory too.
Yeah, we were defending the whole game, you know. We had everything to lose, I suppose, holding on to our 1-0 lead, and Ritter look at times, a few unbelievable last-ditch challenges, a few saves, and you know, defended a corner and broke, and Simsy slipped me through, and yeah, it was nice to finish. I think it was amazing. It was in front of our own fans. You know, the whole place was bouncing, and the fact that we knew they need to score 3 now to go through. So that was it. We all knew we were getting to the final, and we fully deserved it. And it was another step in the development of the club. You know,
I think you can see by the reaction of everybody, even in these photos, you know what it meant that night. What was it like being in that dressing room? Obviously, you've got Kelvin embracing you there. It must have been an incredible feeling amongst all of you guys that night. Yeah, because we've worked so hard on the pitch. You can see that, but the whole season to train, because we weren't exactly flying in the league, so it was a good opportunity for us to get some silverware and give the fans that day at Wembley they deserved. And we all obviously in our careers want to have highlights like that of playing in finals, and it was away at Anfield is never going to be easy. So when you come out 1-0 winners, 2-0 in aggregates, and, I don't think Liverpool had any complaints that we deserved to get there as well. So it was it was just rewards for all our hard efforts, And then moving on, obviously get to the big day itself at Wembley. How do you reflect on that yourself? Because there's obviously some great memories came from it, but ultimately it didn't end the way that anybody here wanted it to.
No, yeah. I was on the bench again that day, and Gabby scored 2 great goals. I think that day, when we look back, we feel like we deserved it as well. You know, I think we played very well that day, limited them to chances, but as it is with the big sides, they always have these players that can just change a game, and that day we came up against an invincible Zlatan. You know, he's a big presence in the box, and when the delivery is right, there's no stopping him. So it was disappointing because it was a massive day for us. It one that we could have rewrote the history books for the club, and we just fell that little bit short.
Going into this next season, it was a tough one. You guys had to really battle to get yourselves over the line at the end. What are your memories of that year, which obviously culminated in that big night in Swansea?
Yeah, it was a tough year again. You know, I think the past three years in the bounce, we've had bad starts in the season. We were playing catch up the whole season through, and I think once you have them bad starts, you put that extra pressure on yourselves, and teams come to St Mary's with a bit of a confidence that they can turn you over. So you know, we survived them, but just about in a few occasions, and it was a big turnaround to get out of that in Swansea and get that 1-0 win. And I think you can see the celebrations there. Celebrations at the end of the game, knowing we'd done it, and I think the last game was Man City at home as well. So we had to get it done at Swansea and take that pressure off ourselves going to the last game, and we managed to do that.
Another incredibly famous memory. I mean, I think it'll be a long time, probably if ever, before this record of yours gets broken. 7.69 seconds at Watford in the fastest Premier League goal.
Yeah. This is when things come together. Is when we kind of do videos on the opposing keeper, and obviously I played with Ben at West Brom, but I'd never picked up on the fact that when he comes out, he makes himself big, but spreads himself low, so that the dink finish was probably our best finish. And it came in the first 6 seconds. You know, it was just, I think now I wouldn't have got it. It might have been a handball. Totally unintentional, but would have been ruled off for a handball. But yeah, it'll be hard to be beaten. You know, it'll take a fairly solid start from the team to beat that record. But at the time, I didn't think much of it. I was just delighted to get 1-0 up, and when we really needed points as well. And after the game, everybody was buzzing around the place, and I knew it was kind of a big deal then by the amount of attention I was getting and from the media and stuff. So I think the longer time went on, the more I appreciate that record.
Yeah, unfortunately, you had to have a few cameras shoved in your face after that night.
Yeah, and they kept asking me, do you know who's previously held the record? And didn't have a clue the first time I was asked, but by the 15th time I knew the time and everything. So it was just interview after interview, but it was, it's nice. It's a nice thing, I think, when you finish up as well and look back at these little small records that you have, and always to be proud of, you know.
I think it was a great photo of Ledley King at the Tottenham game that night, who was obviously being told that he'd lost his record, and you kind of see the disappointment in his face.
Yeah, it might happen to me in the future as well. You know, it's obviously, when he'd done it as well, he probably didn't appreciate it, but after 19 years, I suppose, it's something that you're very proud of, and to see that taken away from you is never going to be nice, but hopefully I'll hold it for a long time to come.
And I guess just finally, do you want to, sum up what your time here so far has meant for you, and and also your family, which has grown in the time here?
Yeah, it's been 6 seasons. You know, I came into a bit in the unknown, and I've fallen in love with the club. I think I've gotten still what the club is about, and I try and pass that on to the younger players. And I think before me it was Calvin, and Jose had it a bit as well, and there's a few of us now that are trying to take on that role, and it's one that I'm proud to have. And the longer I'm here at the club, the more I appreciate that. And who knows what the future holds, but I'm 33 now, and I feel like I've got a lot left in me. So hopefully it's time spent here at Southampton.